Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a mystery that has honestly frustrated cooks for centuries. I mean, why does chopping a simple, everyday vegetable cause such a dramatic, tearful reaction? We've all been there, right? Standing over a cutting board, eyes completely watering, just wondering why a harmless little onion feels like an actual attack on our face. We've even seen the wild life hacks, people wearing literal swimming goggles in the kitchen just to make dinner. Well, as it turns out, there's a fascinating, highly choreographed sequence of events happening right in front of you.
Here's the roadmap for our journey today. We'll start with the hidden chemical trigger, then look inside the onion storage, explore the chemical chain reaction, dive into your eye's defense mechanism, and wrap up with the bigger biological lesson.
Section 1. The hidden chemical trigger. Rethinking the onion.
So why do onions actually make us cry? It's the fundamental question, isn't it? But to really answer it, we have to completely change how we view this kitchen annoyance. Our goal today isn't just to give you a quick trivia fact. We're going to build a wholesome, deep understanding of the entire chain reaction, so well that you can teach it to someone else with total confidence.
To do this, we need to totally abandon the idea of onion magic. You know, the feeling that the onion is just out to get you. It isn't. The onion is absolutely not trying to make you cry on purpose, and your eyes are definitely not overreacting randomly. Instead, we have to look at this as a system. Your tears are actually a highly structured, perfectly natural defensive response to a chemical irritant. It's a completely logical sequence.
Think of it kind of like a wooden spice box. If you've got a box packed full of strong, pungent spices, those intense aromas only hit your nose when you disturb the sealed compartments inside, right? When the lid is closed, it's perfectly safe sitting on your counter. Well, the onion is exactly the same. The crying doesn't come from the onion just existing. It only becomes a problem when its internal structure is physically broken. Moving on to Section 2. Inside the onion storage, a carefully compartmentalized system. Okay, here is the absolutely crucial point. An onion isn't just a mere ingredient you toss in a pan. Biologically speaking, it's an active, living storage organ designed entirely for the plant's survival. Inside this microscopic warehouse, the plant cells act like tightly sealed rooms with rigid walls, and their job is to keep different substances strictly apart from one another. So the onion's power doesn't come from one single nasty chemical waiting to jump out at you. It comes entirely from how the onion is physically arranged. The structure matters just as much as the materials themselves. Let's look inside these tiny sealed rooms, because the plant hides a brilliant chemical setup here. It basically holds two main things. On one side, we have the precursors. Think of these as the raw materials, like the flour and sugar in a baking recipe. Kept strictly separated from those are the enzymes. These are the biological tools, or, if we stick with the analogy, the baker. Right now, while the onion is whole, there is zero irritant. You just have a baker sitting safely in one room and the flour and sugar sitting safely in another. And that brings us to the ultimate catalyst, you. When you slice into an onion, your knife is doing so much more than just making the pieces smaller. The knife is not just a cutting tool, it's a mixing trigger. By chopping, you are literally smashing down the walls of those compartmentalized rooms. You are forcing the baker to finally meet the flour and sugar. The substances that were so carefully separated instantly mix, and the onion's internal chemistry starts changing incredibly fast.
Section 3. The chemical chain reaction. From cutting board to airborne irritant.
So, the walls are down. The damaged cells mix their ingredients in a fraction of a second. The raw materials and the biological tools violently interact, and they create an entirely new product. The result of this lightning-fast chemistry is a volatile airborne compound. And airborne is the absolute key word here. This new chemical doesn't just sit politely on your cutting board. It physically lifts into the air and travels outward. Remember, the onion plant evolved this as a survival mechanism. When a hungry animal takes a bite out of it, this nasty compound makes it super unpleasant to eat. The onion is just defending itself. Now, as this airborne compound travels, your environment really matters. Say you're cooking in a closed kitchen with low fan speed. Maybe the windows are shut tight. That airborne irritant has absolutely no chance to disperse into the wider room. It gets trapped right in the airspace near your face. You could be cutting the exact same onion with the exact same chemistry, but your environment completely dictates the outcome by keeping that chemical heavily concentrated right near your sensitive tissues.
Which brings us to Section 4, your eye's defense mechanism, the body's fast protection program.
I absolutely love this analogy. It's so perfect.
The eye works like a smoke detector, not a sponge. Think about a smoke detector in your house. It doesn't analyze the rich backstory of the smoke. It doesn't stop to care if the smoke is from a lovely vanilla candle or a burning frying pan. It just asks one simple question: is this a threat? Your eye works the exact same way. When that volatile onion compound lands on the eye's moist surface, highly sensitive nerve endings immediately sound the alarm. Your eye doesn't know it's just an onion for dinner. It just screams, "Possible damage. We need to act right now."
And here is the exact play-by-play of that rapid defense reflex. Step 1, the eye detects the irritant. Step 2, it immediately signals danger to your nervous system. Step 3, it rapidly flushes the surface with protective fluid. And Step 4, it keeps the exposed tissue protected until the threat is gone. Seriously, your tears are not a failure or a glitch of your body. They are a brilliant, hyper-efficient cleanup crew. Your body would much rather flood your eye with fluid than let a harsh chemical scratch or damage that beautiful, clean glass window of your eye.
What's really fascinating here is that this isn't just an eye problem. It can actually become a whole face event. Because the irritant is airborne, it breathes into your nasal passages too. This local irritation triggers a system-wide protective reaction across your nose and throat. Since your body operates as this highly connected, intelligent network, your nervous system responds across the board. Your nose runs, your throat kind of burns, your eyes water. Your body isn't confused. It's executing multiple perfectly coordinated protection strategies against a single airborne threat.
Finally, Section 5, the bigger biological lesson: separation, trigger, and response. When we bring the whole chain reaction together, the full story looks like this. We start with the onion cells doing their job, holding ingredients apart to prevent a reaction. Then the cutting happens, breaking the compartments and acting as the trigger. Next, that airborne irritant travels outward, carrying the threat to your face. Then your eye nerves detect the chemical, recognizing possible harm. And finally, the tear response kicks in to flush the surface and protect your eye. The onion isn't magic, and it definitely isn't creating tears directly. It's just creating a specific chemical condition that your eye is explicitly designed to defend against.
And honestly, this brings us to such a beautiful, holistic understanding of biology. This pattern, it shows up everywhere in nature: separation, trigger, and response. So many of the surprising or frustrating effects we experience daily are just normal systems doing their perfectly designed jobs under specific conditions. The onion is successfully defending itself, and your eye is successfully protecting its delicate tissue. You are not a passive victim to a mean vegetable. You're an active participant in a flawless biological exchange.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. Now that you truly understand this full chain, from the sealed storage rooms all the way to the smoke detector nerves in your eye, how can you interrupt it before the tears even begin? Could you chill the onion in the fridge to slow the baker down? Could you change your kitchen's airflow to literally blow the irritant away from your face? You now have the actual biological knowledge to outsmart the process. Next time you cook, you aren't just guessing anymore, you are actively managing a biological system. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy chopping.